Welcome to the Hamster Running Rant. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. If you're a regular, thanks for coming back. You clearly haven't learnt your lesson yet. Lovely you're here. This week's a strange one because this week there's no Circuit Vall Albaida race. A week off. Now, if you've been following along, you'll know the circuit has been the backbone of my running life for months. Every Saturday there's somewhere to be, a hill to be dragged up, a village to drive to, a Gandia roper to hand my bag to. One announcing things at the front I still don't actually understand. And then suddenly nothing, a blank Saturday. You'd think this would be a relief, a chance to rest, to recover, to be, as I once put it, just a person again. And in theory, yes, a rest week is the sensible thing, the mature thing, the thing a reasonable runner, especially one heading into his late 60s, ought to welcome with open arms. So naturally, I'm finding it deeply unsettling. Because here's the thing nobody tells you about a rest week. Resting is a skill. And it turns out I'm terrible at it. Let me tell you what my running friends are doing with their week off. Some of them are joining another circuit, just popping over to a neighbouring area to find a race. Because apparently one circuit isn't enough. I know that feeling. Others are eyeing up the Gandia 10k Nocturna, a night race, in the heat, voluntarily. And these are the people I look to for sensible behaviour. So already the idea of a rest week is starting to look like a polite fiction. A thing we all agree exists, but nobody actually observes. Like the diet that starts on Monday. The circuit takes a week off, the runners do not. But there is another force at work here, and that force is Mrs. Hamster. Now I should explain, Mrs. Hamster is not interested in my running at all. She tolerates it in the way that you might tolerate a mild but persistent cold. And if she's honest, she'd much prefer I found some other way to spend my Saturday evenings than disappearing off to a village to be dragged up a mountain. So the moment the circuit announces a week off, Mrs. Hamster moves with remarkable speed. Because a week with no Saturday evening race is a week with no hard stop. No, sorry, I have to leave by 5. No schedule built around a start time. And she fills it immediately. This time it's a trip to Calpe to see friends. A proper all-day event. The kind of day that crucially does not pause for a circuit run. So already the rest week has been claimed, not by me, by her. Fair enough. Here's a secret though. Even with no race this week, and even with the day handed over to Mrs. Hamster's plans, I'm still not resting. Not even slightly. Because there's something ticking away in the background that doesn't care about the circuit calendar or Mrs. Hamster's social diary. Here's why. This year I signed up to a challenge with UK virtual runners. The goal? 200 kilometres a month. All 12 of them. Throughout 2026. Now, last year I did do a similar challenge, but at 150 kilometers a month. Did I leave it at 150 kilometers? No, of course not. That would have been sensible, maybe even sustainable. Certainly that would have been the easy way. So this year I bumped it up to 200. Nothing quite says I'm a reasonable man making reasonable choices like voluntarily adding 50 kilometers a month to your moral obligations. And here's the thing about a monthly target, it doesn't care about the circuit calendar. The circuit might give me a week off. The UK Virtual Runners Challenge does not. The 200 kilometers are there, ticking away in the background, completely indifferent to whether there's a race on Saturday or not. So a rest week from the circuit isn't a rest week at all. It's just a week where the kilometers have to come from somewhere else. Now, you might think, fine, 200 kilometers a month, that's about 50 a week, manageable. What's the problem? The problem is me, obviously, because I don't like running close to the target. Last month I did 242 kilometers. And do you know how that felt? Slightly uncomfortable. 242 should feel like a comfortable win. 42 kilometers clear of the target. That's about a marathon. A triumph, but to me, 242 kilometers felt a bit tight. Too close to the line for comfort. I like a proper buffer. I'm much happier somewhere north of 300. Then I can relax, which I'm aware is not entirely normal behavior. Some sort of low-grade OCD, possibly. A need for the numbers to be safely, reassuringly over. So when the circuit hands me an empty Saturday, I don't see rest. I see a gap in the spreadsheet. Lost kilometers, a shrinking buffer. And the voice in my head, the one that should be saying, "Put your feet up, you've earned it," instead is muttering, "You should be doing something, you're slipping." That's the real feeling. Not guilt exactly, not fear of missing out on the race, just a nagging certainty that an empty day is a day the buffer gets smaller. And a smaller buffer means I can't relax, so I run. And this is where I need to be honest about who I am as a runner. I'm the one who takes the long way round, every time. Not in the sense that I do the wrong thing. I usually eventually end up doing roughly the right thing, but I will always find the hardest, most unnecessarily complicated route to get there. Take the rest week. The sensible runner rests. The sensible runner says, the circuit's given me a week off, my body could use the recovery, especially now when recovery takes me considerably longer than it used to. So I'll take it easy. Not me. I'll take the week off from the circuit, then I'll rest by going out and grinding out some kilometers anyway, to protect a buffer on a challenge I voluntarily made harder last year. I will turn a rest week into a non-rest week in service of a number to smooth an anxiety I created entirely by myself. And the worst part? It'll probably work out fine. I'll hit the kilometers, I'll protect the buffer, I'll get to roughly the right place. Just by the most exhausting route imaginable. That's the hamster way. There's an easy way and a hard way, and I'll find the hard way every time. Not on purpose, but with a kind of reliable, almost impressive consistency. Now, here's the part I can't ignore, much as I'd like to. I'm not 30 or 40, I'm heading into my late 60s. And the thing about getting older as a runner, and I've mentioned this before, is that the running itself isn't always the problem, it's the recovery. When I was younger, I could run hard, wake up the next day and then run hardish again. The body bounced back. It was forgiving. Now, recovery takes longer. A hard effort needs proper days to absorb. The body sends invoices and expects them to be paid in full, with interest. Which means the rest week isn't just a nice idea, it's actually the thing my body is quietly asking for, probably needs. So what do I do with that information? Of course, I ignore it, because the spreadsheet says 200 and I want to see 300 kilometers. So I've got a body that's telling me with increasing firmness that it would appreciate a genuine rest, and a brain that's telling me that the buffer's shrinking. We all know which one wins that argument. The one who takes the long way around doesn't just take the hard way, he takes the hard way while the sensible way is right there waving at him, holding a glass of water and a comfortable chair. So where does that leave me on this rare week off from the circuit? Not resting for sure. Picture the scene. We drive to Calpe, we see Mrs. Hamster's friends, it'll be a lovely, civilised, entirely running-free day out, exactly the sort of day she'd like every Saturday to be. And at some point I'll quietly excuse myself and go for a bit of a jog along the seafront. Of course I will. The buffer won't protect itself. There it'll be, the Peñón de Fech, the great rock rising straight out of the sea, basically begging to be climbed. The Benicadei of the coast. And here's where I'd like to think I've learned something, because I'm fairly sure I won't go up the Peñón. A quiet, flat, sensible jog along the front. Kilometers banked, buffer protected, nobody dragged up anything. Probably. Though if you don't get to hear from me next week, you'll know the rock won. But here's the thing, and it's the thing that I've come to accept. I'll get there. I always do. The kilometers will get done, the challenge will month by month tick over, the buffer will be restored to a level that lets me sleep. And somewhere, in among all the unnecessary effort, I'll have had some good runs, seen some nice scenery and reminded myself why I do this at all. I'll just have done it the long way, the hard way, the hamster way. Because rest, it turns out, is a skill, and it's one I'm still trying to learn. Possibly one I never will quite get. And maybe that's fine, Maybe the rest week was never really meant for people like me. Maybe some of us are just wired up to keep going, even when the calendar, the body, and let's be honest, Mrs. Hamster, all suggest otherwise. Maybe one of these weeks I'll genuinely rest. Sit still, let the buffer shrink without panicking, spend the whole day in Calpe without sneaking off for a little kilometre or two jog. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Thanks for listening to this week's rant. Thanks especially to those of you who keep coming back, even when I'm just out here explaining at length why I can't sit down. If you're the same, if your rest weeks mysteriously involve a half marathon, I'd love to hear about it. Comments are welcome. Please tell me I'm not the only one. And if you've actually cracked the art of resting, definitely let me know. I could use the tutorial. See you next time.